Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a box you may have overlooked, coming from Australian Eloquence, as usual. It's where all the good stuff is these days. On Decca, the Wolfgang Holzmair Phillips Recitals. Who, you may ask, if you're not a classical music hardcore guy or girl, is Wolfgang Holzmair. Well, he is about 70 years old now, but he is one of the most intelligent and effective and moving and smart and interesting song singers, recitalists, leader singers, who's been available. He's done operas too, but this is his recording. This box contains 13 discs, actually, all of his recordings for the Philips and Decca labels, almost all of them anyway. Does it have, what is it? It's the Philips Recitals, actually, technically is what it's called. So it's all the Philips Recitals and a Decca recording. So it's not all the Philips Recitals, but thank God for that Decca recording, because I'll tell you straight off, it's the Blomstedt German Requiem, which is the new reference recording for the German Requiem after Klemperer. It's an astounding performance, and he makes a magnificent contribution. So there you go. I mean, for that alone, this is worth having. Of course, that's in the Blomstedt Decca box, too, which is already out of print. I mean, finding these things is such a game, isn't it? I mean, it's just such a joke. You know, we have to, scurry around and find other boxes about other things to get the recordings we want to hear, although it may still be available separately, maybe sometimes, or you get it used. It's such an insane world out there for classical music lovers. But disc 13 is the German Requiem, just so you know. The other 12 are all song recitals, and these are marvelous. Holzmair had what you call a light baritone. It's not a dark voice. It's almost tenorish in quality, and great musical curiosity and intelligence, and it's a beautiful voice, lovely and lyrical, and he uses it with such smarts throughout these songs. So let's get in here, and I'll tell you what's in the box, and turn you loose to go and have a good time, which you certainly shall, I guarantee it. So, let's see, what have we got here? CD 1, here we are. Oh, it's Beethoven songs, including An die ferne Geliebte, to a distant beloved, Beethoven's little song cycle, lovely little piece. And let's see, before that, we've got songs by Mozart and Haydn, which is wonderful. Haydn's songs are terribly underrated. So are Mozart's, for that matter. They're beautiful. And then we've got, Mozart's Kleine Deutsche Cantata. That's such an adorable little thing. And some of the Haydn English songs, too, which are fantastic. It's a big, long recital. The pianist is Imogen Cooper, who was Holzmair's recital partner for many, many years. And the two of them are really one of the great singer-pianist partnerships. She's an unfailingly intelligent accompanist with the ability to take the spotlight when she needs to and to mirror the singer. And, she's wonderful. And the two of them together just are fantastic. Then we've got Beethoven folk songs, some of his Scottish songs and Welsh songs and Irish songs and all those things with the trio Fontenay, because they were arranged for piano, trio, and voice. And that's really a fun disc. I mean, Haydn did hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of those suckers, and they're delicious, absolutely delicious. CD 3, we come to the great Schubert song cycles, again with Imogen Cooper. There's Die Schöne Müllerin and Winterreise, which is one of my great Winterreise selections. I have it sitting around here somewhere in the Winterreise pile when we did the Winterreise survey, the repertoire survey. I mean, Holzmair was definitely one of the great ones, unquestionably. And Schwanengesang, there we go. That was his first recital for Philips, actually. I think the Schwanengesang stuff. And after that, we have Schumann, Heine Lieder, organized by poet. That's always sometimes a good idea, actually. And Heine was a wonderful poet, so that makes sense. Unfortunately, you don't get text and translations. It's a budget release, and that's so annoying. But we get Heine things, including the Liederkreis Opus 24 and Dichterliebe, the great Dichterliebe cycle. So that's really cool. And then we've got CD7, some more Schubert. These are all with Imogen Cooper, by the way. some more Schumann, pardon me. 12 poems by Kerner. Kerner Lieder, why not? And then, let's see, songs by Clara and Robert in alternation. Clara was a very good composer. Let us not forget, but like many female composers of the day, she was limited to working in smaller forms or chamber music because there was no way she was going to get performed if she'd written larger works. Really just a shame, isn't it? So that's all fun. And then we've got, let's see, CD8, Eichendorff Lieder. Poems by Eichendorff. Oh, Eichendorff was another fine poet. I mean, in case you care. I mean, I don't think it matters. You know, let me just say something dogmatic. One of the things about Lieder is that if you see people, whinging about the quality of the poetry, then they don't know what they're talking about. Because, one of the things that Tovey said, for example, and he's right, is that great poetry is musical in and of itself and has nothing to gain, as often as not, by a musical setting. In fact, great poetry, poetry generally needs to be read out loud so that you hear the physicality, the alliteration, the assonance and dissonance of the text as you read it. And so you can't just sit there and read a text and say, oh, well, it's a great poem. You have to hear it. And once you read it out loud, you may well find that there is nothing to be gained by setting it to music if the music works against the inherent, what you might call speech music of the poem. So a lot of the best songs have not so great poetry, just like a lot of the best operas have crappy librettos. Eichendorff was a great poet. There's no question about that. But I'm making the point because we have to be a little bit circumspect when we regard the relationship between the music and the words and whether the poetry was important enough. Schubert's song cycles, Winterreise and Schöne Müllerin were to poetry by Müller. And Müller was no one's idea of a great poet, but the words were perfect for Schubert's music. And that's what makes it so great. It's the union of word and text. And that's what always matters. But the better the poem, the more musical the poem inherently, the more difficult it is to achieve that union. And so something for you to think about for all of you song people out there. So the Eichendorff Lieder contains songs by Mendelssohn, Robert Franz, Schumann's Liederkreis, Opus 39. Let's see, Aribert Riemann. Oh my goodness, modern stuff. Hugo Wolff, which is always fun, and Zemlinsky, Korngold, Pfitzner, and Ottmar Schuck. How's that for a collection? I think one of the reasons, frankly, that Holzmair got dropped by Philips eventually was because he was far too interesting for a record label to want to make recordings of the stuff that he wanted to do. A lot of his best recordings are on other labels, small labels. For example, Bridge Records has a couple recitals, including Schrecker Lieder and things like that, which you're never going to find anywhere else. So, he was up for whoever was willing to go where he wanted to go. And he does go some places here as well. For example, CD9, Ernst Krenek, the Reisebuch aus dem österreichischen Alpen, the travel diary in the Austrian Alps, which is actually loosely based conceptually on Winterreise, but it's by Krenek. And also his let's see, what's this? It says here, Viele Lieder aus dem Liederbuch dreier Freunde. So, songs from the let's see, the Songbook of Three Friends. This is with Gerard Wyss piano. And what else have we got here? Hans Eisler, the Hollywood Songbook. The Hollywood Songbook is a series of songs. They're German songs that Eisler wrote when he was living in exile in Hollywood, mostly to texts by Bertolt Brecht. And they're wonderful songs. And it's a terrific collection of songs, which nobody really cared about before Holzmair got his larynx on them. Speaking of larynx, please pardon mine, which isn't working. But there's all kinds of stuff in here. It's really a fabulous collection. And then we've got French songs. Holzmair was a wonderful singer of French chansons and melodies. He really was. His French is terrific, and he has that light baritone voice, which is perfect, the perfect timbre for these songs. So we've got, let's see, Fauré, Stuff, and Duparc, and Ravel's Cinq Melodies Populaires Grecques, which are just fabulous songs, of course. And then CD 12, let's see, we're at CD 12 already? Yes. That was CD 11. CD 12 is French songs by Berlioz, Chausson, Ibert, Don Quixote à Dulcinea by Ravel, Ibert, Debussy, and let's see, who else? More Duparc and Eugene Anthome. There's someone you probably don't know too well. And some more Fauré, okay, including L'Horizon Chimérique. Beautiful, beautiful little song cycle. 4 tiny little songs. It's wonderful. And then finally, the German Requiem. So this is a fantastic box. You know, really select recordings by a very, very, very great singer. And I am delighted to talk about it now and mention that it's still available. I should have talked about it when I first got it, which is when it came out a little while ago. But, you know, life is too short, and I didn't get to everything now that I'm doing so much like leader stuff, Schubert and Liszt transcriptions and all this other things, I've been going back and paying attention to some of the singers that I didn't have time to get to when I first had the opportunity. And this is one of the most important of them, without a doubt. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.